What would you do if you were trapped in a home with a cannibal hunting you down? This is Cannibal Abduction. The game begins and we're introduced to Henry, a young man living carefree and speeding down the highway. Our car screeches to a halt as the engine gives way, but lucky for us, a mechanic who happens to be driving past spots us. He offers us a tow back to his farm and agrees to take a look at the vehicle. In return, we agree to help around the house as Henry's a carpenter. That is until we're locked in his guest room. We take control of Henry in the locked room and need to figure a way to get out. The controls are very janky and need to require some finesse to stay on track. Pointing in a direction will just spin you around in a circle. So to begin, we have access to our toolbox, which acts as storage, our own inventory, a flashlight and a sprinting ability that uses stamina. Now, on hard mode your stamina recovers slower, your inventory can only hold 3 items, bandages heal far less, as well as the killer laying down traps, which of course we'll touch on shortly. Now your health can be viewed when opening up your inventory. Your screen will go red when you are low on health, so you better get bandaging. You can also pick up VHS tapes that are scattered around the house, and these can be used at TVs to save, but be warned that these are only a one-time use, and there aren't many of them, so I advise against saving every time you get one. Moving around the house will eventually alert the cannibal to you. You'll either hear footsteps coming from a direction or there'll be a jump scare with you needing to immediately start backtracking. Now you can't hit the cannibal back, and after about 3 to 4 hits you'll be killed and respawn at a TV. So, if you can't hit him, what can you do to get away? Well, there are several wardrobes around the house, which you can jump in to avoid detection. If you're seen jumping into the wardrobe, he'll give you a smack and you'll be kicked out of the wardrobe. You do have time to get away, it's not an instant kill. If the cannibal does spot you, you can hide and wait for him to leave. You'll know he's gone when the eerie music fades away and you can't hear his footsteps any longer. Now these wardrobes are pretty much your only defense on hard, and to make matters worse they can be boarded up. If you let too many wardrobes become blocked and you run out of stamina, you're pretty much dead. You can remove the boards, but you'll need a hammer to do so, and walking around with the hammer when you only have 3 inventory slots is a decision that you'll have to make. The cannibal also has traps that he'll use to block your pathways, doors as well as staircases, and these are pretty frustrating to deal with at times, but you do gain access to a disarming kit. So, with all that out of the way, how is Henry going to escape? There are several items that you'll need to gather and puzzles that you'll need to solve to survive. For example, finding the code for a lock, looking for a secret pathway, as well as feeding the family dog. None of the puzzles are too complex and there aren't too many items within the house, so it does make it easier to discern what needs to be used when and where. You'll also have to make tactical decisions on what items you want in your inventory and what you want to keep in storage. Now this is because you can't hold on to all of your key items at once, and you pretty much always want your flashlight, which realistically means you only have 2 inventory spaces. Now, the cannibal seems to always spawn at the most inconvenient times, usually when you're in a dead end or alternatively when you're one shot and there's nowhere else to hide. Now, this isn't a criticism, just an observation. Now, you can't loop this cannibal like in Dead by Daylight, as there seems to be an anti-cheesing mechanic where they'll just respawn them somewhere else closer to you. Here, we get blocked, run out of stamina, and we're essentially f***ed. Here you can see the mechanic walking in bare feet with a hand missing. Now, I personally wouldn't have accepted the ride. Here's an example of the cannibal cheesing us by putting double traps down. Hey, look, this guy clearly is a trapper main on DVD, eh? Now, the puzzles do change very slightly on each playthrough, so you won't be able to just go on GameFAQs or Reddit and cheese it out. For those wanting to do multiple playthroughs, I can confirm there are a few different endings. Now, the game is going for a retro type of graphics, very reminiscent of the PlayStation 1 era. There's also a grainy overlay filter, in case you thought I was recording the gameplay with my iPhone. So, what are my thoughts on the game? Well, I completed the game 3 times just to make this review, with the final attempt being on hard. The initial playthrough took me 2.5 hours, with the hard attempt taking about an hour and 20. The gameplay was fun, I was constantly engaged, planning my routes and thinking how I can do better the next time. The game is also fair, and if you want to be very diligent, you can do so and make the game easier for yourself. The light puzzles and style of the game is very similar to the old school Resident Evils, except far shorter. I'm definitely recommending Cannibal Abduction, and it of course gets the send your donut stamp of approval. Now, the devs did add an additional game to the bundle called The Night of the Scissors, and that's great value considering I paid £9.49 for the game. If you guys would like to see a review on that, let me know in the comments. So yeah, like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. That's all I got, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.
Oh, hello there, sir. How can I help you today?
Yeah, actually, can I get 2 bottles of whiskey, and 1 carton of cigarettes, please?
Sir, this is a library.
Alright, just 1 bottle then.